Let me go back to my original one. Uh, it's my pleasure to welcome Jyoti Kaur, and there is a particular reason we invited Jyoti to come and present. Uh, and she will tell details about her journey to where she is right now. And you will probably be able to relate with some of the things that she is saying, the opportunities that came by, and what she is doing right now. Currently, she is in the process of finishing, well, almost finishing her PhD at the University of North Carolina in Greensboro. Um, and then hopefully pick up a faculty position somewhere. Uh, so without further delay, let me turn this over to Jyoti, who will chalk out her journey and what she's currently doing and how she's using analytics. You see, one of the things that I want to say is analytics is a tool. It's not something that you use and say, I'm an analytics person. You use it as a matter of fact. It's part of your life. It's part of the work that you do. So, and I think that you will see that in many things that Jyoti is going to probably be talking about. Over to you, Jyoti.
Thank you. I'll just go ahead and share my screen. So I hope you can see my the slides, right? Okay. So first of all, thank you very much, Dr. Dillon. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Akal Business School for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my experiences as well as my journey as a PhD candidate. And I welcome all the other students as well who are joining us today. So I'll try and give you a glimpse of what my PhD journey has been so far and share some of the research work, some of the studies that I've been doing in the field of information systems. And I've been working very closely with Dr. Dillon on most of these projects. And I hope that this will add value to you and it gives you some perspective of what really goes on in the PhD program, how we use statistics, business analytics, all of those skills to develop and grow as better researchers once we enroll into a PhD program, what kind of skills and knowledge you can develop along the way. Just in case any one of you is interested in pursuing this academic degree in the near future. So let me give you a brief background about my qualification. So after I completed my master's in business administration in MIS and operations from Punjabi University, Patiala in India. And after completing my MBA, I secured a campus placement with HDFC Bank, where I initially joined as a management trainee and then worked as an assistant manager. And I've also worked with Axis Bank for a couple of years and simultaneously have also pursued other areas of interest in all these years. So now just to talk a little bit about how I got interested in information systems and security. So while I was working in the retail banking segment in the banking sector, I was exposed to some of the security and compliance issues that are generally faced by banking industry. So for instance, back then we would have issues like ATM security frauds, or customers would get phishing emails. And what used to happen was that people used to end up losing a lot of their valuable money, hard-earned money in all of these frauds. And what happens is that whenever these kind of frauds are reported in the banks, the banks are forced to revisit their security and compliance policies. And the banking industry, even in developing countries, or for that matter, even in developed countries, is constantly working towards keeping the customer data and information secure. So that could be either through stricter audits in the organizations, or better security trainings for the employees, or also could be educating the customers so that these kind of frauds, and especially financial frauds, can be kept under check. So this is where I kind of developed interest in the organizational security aspects, and wanted to further explore the field from a more academic and from a more managerial perspective. And therefore, that was when I started exploring the option of getting into a PhD program. So most of the security-based PhD programs are either in the field of computer science or IT or technology. But because I did not have a very strong technological background, I wanted to go into something that is more managerial as well. And while I was exploring these different PhD programs, I happened to have a conversation with Dr. Dillon, who actually told me about this PhD program in information systems at UNCG. And to be honest, I was convinced at that point that this is exactly what I was looking for and what I wanted to pursue. So the interesting thing about information systems is that although it is always recommended that you do have some background in business programming, in business analytics, technical knowledge, but it is not fully dependent on that kind of a technological background. So even like I came from a management background, so it's kind of an intersection between management and technology. And that is how I got interested in it. And I joined the PhD program in information systems at the Bryan School of Business and Economics at UNCG in August 2019. So the other interesting thing about PhD programs here in the US is, so it's not just restricted to attending classes and learning, but it also gives you a diverse opportunity to learn more and develop more skills and understanding of what is really going on in your field. And one of the ways of doing that is you also get to be a graduate assistant. You can either be a research assistant or you can be a teaching assistant. And what that basically means is that you collaborate and work closely with some of your professors or some of the other faculty members in your department. And you can either work closely on some of the research that they are doing, or you could also help them with teaching responsibilities that they have. What this does is that as you are also doing your PhD and taking your courses and doing all of your study, this also helps you give an opportunity. It gives you an opportunity to learn other areas that could be of importance to you, that could help you maybe in your future research, or just help you build up your resume for the future. So what you see on the screen are some of the courses that I was assisting my faculty members with, and that really helped me get a better understanding, or in fact, a deeper understanding of information systems and what are the emerging trends and what are the other softwares and analytical skills that I can also develop while through the program. And one of the other things that I would also like to share is that when you come for these PhD programs here, you're also, you can also apply for different kind of scholarships in different universities. And these different scholarships could give you different sorts of benefits. It could be monetary incentives, or it could be other kind of incentives that you get. So a part of the scholarship that I have, we have these interesting conversations around how research happens, what are the different emerging trends in research that other students are working on. So it's a great opportunity to interact with other students on campus from different departments, from different countries, from who have different or varied research interests. And it helps you develop an overall personality as well. So as part of our program, as a Minerva scholar, in fact, a couple of months back, we had this wonderful opportunity to interact with students from the School of Music, who kind of gave us a jamming session on jazz music. And I did not have much knowledge about jazz music, but thanks to that experience, I kind of got interested in that. So there are not just studies, but various other interesting opportunities and experiences you get on campus, which is wonderful. Okay, so now talking more specifically about the coursework that you do in a PhD program. So basically here at UNCG, once you enroll in a PhD program, you have to finish a couple of required courses to be able to go into the next phase of your dissertation. And broadly, these courses are categorized into seminar courses and research methodology courses. And you generally get a time frame of 2 years to finish all your coursework. Now, basically, what these seminar courses do is that these are very interactive courses where your professors help you understand deeper of what IS research is all about. What are the theoretical frameworks that you would require to become a better researcher? What are the different methods that are being used in research? And also some of the more interesting emerging topics that you can work on for your dissertation. And these are these kind of seminar courses actually provide you with a very supportive and collaborative environment where you can learn with your other fellow PhD students, and the professors help you understand and develop that deeper understanding. The second kind of courses that are required for you during a PhD program are also methodology courses. So generally, these are courses on advanced statistics. They could be courses on business analytics, on qualitative research, on experimental research designs. So some of these courses are mandatory for you to take so that you have enough experience and enough skills to carry on a research on your own. But then you can also choose from the other section of courses depending on what your interest is or what kind of research you are looking forward to, and you want to do those kind of courses and have those skill sets and work on that. The other thing you also are required to do is there is always a supporting area that you have to do a couple of courses on those supporting areas as well. And because once you get into academia, teaching is also an important component of your responsibility. So you also have to take courses on teaching education, because the teaching requirements and the teaching rules and regulations are a little different here in the US. So you are generally given an opportunity to learn those as well. So as I said, generally you get 4 semesters to complete your coursework. Fortunately, I was able to do that in 1.5 years. And once you complete your coursework, you have to take a comprehensive exam, which has a written as well as an oral component. And I passed my comprehensive exam in the spring semester this year. And I was also able to successfully defend my dissertation proposal in April this year. So once you finish your comprehensive exam, that's when you enter, you're no more a PhD student, but you become a PhD candidate, and you can then start working on your dissertation research or if you have other projects that you're interested in and you want to work on that, so you can start pursuing that work as well. So that was about the PhD program. So I'll just also give you talk a little bit about what my research interests are. So my research interest kind of lies in the intersection of information systems and information security. And I've been interested in working and in understanding how information security performance, especially for employees and individuals, can be enhanced within organizations, how these information security behaviors can be, especially related to compliance, can be, how individuals and employees can be motivated for better compliance of these security policies, and how these different factors can help improve the security capabilities and competence of these organizations. So what you see on the screen are some of the topic areas that I've been working on. And I've been working again very closely with Dr. Dillon on these projects. So just to give you a glimpse of how research works and what kind of projects we've been doing. So I'll just briefly give you some idea about some of the projects that I've been working. So as you can very well make out, this is one project that we kind of undertook during the pandemic. It was related to the social distancing regulation that was it was recommended across the world. But then there were studies that came out that showed us that generally the public was not very compliant with these regulations that were given by the governments and also the health experts. So we got interested in understanding how could we motivate the public and the individuals to comply with such kind of regulations, which are very critical, especially in the time of a crisis. And we were going through a health crisis, and it was important that people practiced social distancing so that the COVID virus could be, the spread could be curbed. So we have a very interesting concept in the information systems field, which we call the psychological empowerment. And we wanted to study that can psychological empowerment, and basically what that means is that when we empower individuals by giving them more participative decision making, by giving them more opportunity to learn and use their knowledge and skills that they already have, and also giving them access to enough information and support. So can these factors improve how individuals comply with some regulations and some policies? And we did find a very interesting finding that psychologically empowered individuals actually showed higher compliance interest. So this was one of the studies where we used a simple survey response, which is the survey approach method. We took the responses from 351 participants, and we analyzed our data using PLS structure equation modeling. So this is what structural equation modeling kind of research model looks like. And I've been told that you'll be taking courses as you progress. You'll be taking courses on statistics as well. And this is an interesting area where you must invest your time if you can. It's interesting to me, and it really helps in research when you go forward. So you have variables which we call the dependent variables, which is finally what you're trying to study. And then there are these independent variables, and you're trying to see what kind of impact they have on the other components that you're trying to study. So generally in a structural equation modeling kind of research, you build hypotheses, and then you have softwares where you can put in your data. But then all that the software does is just give you numbers. So you need to have enough knowledge of statistics to be able to interpret these numbers and make sense out of it. Because when you take your research to to the public or to the management, they do not understand these numbers. So as a researcher, it is your responsibility to interpret and make sense of what all these numbers mean, and that's where the statistics knowledge really comes handy. So this was one kind of research that we've been working on that uses which is more of a quantitative research where we use structural equation modeling to understand the phenomena that we are looking at. So the next project that I really wanted to talk about was a project that we did on smart cities and digital innovation. Now, this is an interesting field of study, and there have been a lot of studies that have already been done on digital innovation and smart cities. And this is current, this is interesting. In fact, according to a very recent report, in the next 30 years, they say that about 65% of the developing world will be living in urban areas which are characterized as smart cities. Now, the whole rationale behind the development of smart cities across the globe is to create some sort of urban ecosystems that kind of make the cities more habitable, more sustainable, and also more profitable. And in fact, we have numerous innovative companies like Google, Apple, IBM, who have been actively investing in developing these smart cities around the world. And in fact, it has been projected that by 2025, they would be doubling their investments in the smart city projects to somewhere around $820 billion. So in this project, what we really did was we wanted to review all the work, all the studies that have already been done in the digital innovation stream, in the stream of information systems, and then kind of look at what is the integrated approach that that we can have to actually understand what the challenges and opportunities are in the smart cities area. And while we did this study, we came up with 4 dominant themes. And what we did analyze was that all these themes are kind of interdependent when we want to come up with something called like a more informed society, or what we actually said in the project was an information society as well. So once we do these kind of studies, we also come up with future propositions that what kind of future research can really help solve these problems or challenges that are there. So these were actually the 4 themes that we came up with based on the literature review that we had done. And basically these were big data analytics and artificial intelligence driven decision making. It was information and technology as a smart and continuous solution. Then there was digital governance, which we do see in a lot of developing countries where a lot of online public governance and is being taken care. And then as we have information and data flowing through these smart cities, so obviously we do have cyber threats and security issues as well. So all these themes actually go hand in hand. You cannot look at one theme in particular and ignore the other ones. And based on these thematics that we came up with, we also helped chalk out a way for which how the future of this research could take place. And finally, there is another interesting project that I've been working on that is Thriving at Work. Now, as we all would agree that information and data is a very critical resource and asset for most of the organizations today. And a lot of the employees in these organizations are handling sensitive information and data. And that information or data could be either customer data, or it could be organizational data and information. Having said that, most of the organizations also do have security and compliance policies in place, which are quite elaborate. But we still see that some of the employees, they kind of do not perform these security responsibilities to the level that they are expected to perform. And that kind of leads to security frauds and data breach incidents across different organizations. So we wanted to study or get into deeper understanding of this phenomena. And there is an interesting concept of interesting tenet of the positive psychology called the psychological capital construct, which is basically based on hope, self-efficacy, resilience, and optimism. And the argument that we make is that psychological capital is an important component to help individuals have a better performance towards their security component in their jobs. And that would also make them more competent to perform these responsibilities. Now, we are still in process in this project. And this is interesting because it will not just help the academic field, but the solutions that we come up with could also be used by the management to improve the security job performance behaviors as well as competence among the employees. So this is kind of an overall model for the project that I just spoke about. Now, the interesting part of this project is that it uses a mixed methods study, where we are doing both qualitative as well as a quantitative study. We have, for the qualitative part, we generally end up interviewing people, and we take their feedback, we analyze the results from the interviews, and then we build a model that we are interested to, that we kind of explore in the next stage. And that is the quantitative part. So we are looking at exploring and understanding that model using the structure equation modeling. And as I said, we're still in the process of this project. And it has been quite interesting to see how these components of security are important across organizations as well. So those were just a brief glimpse of some of the projects that I've been working on. And I specifically chose those 3 different projects because they are very different in terms of the kind of research that they are based on. And I hope that it would have given you a glimpse of how these different research methods are used to do different kinds of research in the field of information systems. And just some concluding thoughts. I would, like I said, it's the PhD program. Once you get into it, it requires a lot of effort and time from your. It is something that you have to really be dedicated towards. But at the end of the day, it gives you tremendous advantage if you aspire to develop skills and knowledge that are valued not just in the academic world, but also in the non-academic professional organizations. Also, I would like to share that when you get into a PhD program, it kind of gives you an opportunity to explore and dig deeper into a field of study that really fascinates you, that you find interesting. And in this way, you can have a dedicated research that can help not just the academic world, but again, you have practical implications for that as well. You can help professional organizations, you can help their management as well. And also, once you get into a PhD program, it opens doors for you in terms of meeting a lot of other people, a lot of different researchers who might be working on the same kind of topic or research area that you are working on, or maybe something very different that you might develop interest for. You also get to meet a lot of different professionals at various national as well as international conferences. So you get to travel and meet these other people that really adds value and enriches the kind of quality of life that you have. So having said that, I would like to close with an interesting quote by Dr. Carol Dweck, where she says that the hallmark of successful people is that they are always stretching. And I would say that PhD program is one such program that really gives you that opportunity to stretch yourself and learn new things with every passing day. So that brings us to the end of the presentation today. Thank you so very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, good evening, ma'am.
Hi, good evening.
There was a term ERP. What does it mean?
ERP, did you use ERP term?
Just a minute. I think I cannot see who is really asking the question. So,
Ma'am, it's me, Paramjit.
okay. Oh,
Yeah, I think she's. Yeah, I think he had a bad connection. So, did you use the term ERP somewhere?
Oh, actually, it was in one of the courses that I was a graduate assistant for.
Okay. Sure. Let her dial back and then you can respond to her. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So any other question that?
Oh, she's back.
Sorry, sir, for.
Hi, Paramjit, I think we have you now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for your question, Paramjit. Yeah, so I did use the word ERP. So basically, that is the name of the course, one of the courses that I was a graduate assistant with. So basically, here at UNCG, we do have a course where you so ERP basically means enterprise resource planning. So we use different softwares to understand how different departments can kind of collaborate in an organization. So basically that course was teaching the SAP software, where you can, you learn how to collaborate between the accounting, the marketing, the finance departments, and how you can make that work better for an organization. But that course actually basically focused on learning the SAP software. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Firstly, thank you, ma'am, for this session. Ma'am, you told us about your studies that you did your master's in Punjab University and Punjab University. So my question to you is that why did you choose University of North Carolina? I mean, what are the features that attracted to you this particular university?
Well, thank you, Manjinder, for that wonderful question. So like, as I said, while I was interested when I was working in the banking industry, I got interested into security issues. Now, when you get into, cybersecurity and all of these topics, it is more technology and computer science related topics, right? Now, I don't have a background in, I don't have that kind of a technical background. So I was looking for a program which is more which suited more to the qualification that I had, which was a management degree. So information systems is one field that helps you kind of bridge between management and technology. So even if you do not come with a very heavy technical background, like in computer science or IT or something like that, you can still pursue this degree. Now, UNCG has this wonderful opportunity of providing a PhD in information systems. And also when I went through that curriculum, it is very supportive of what kind of courses they are offering. So you get an opportunity, even if you don't come from a technical background, you get an opportunity to learn all of these different skill sets. You get an opportunity to learn analytics. And that was something that really excited me, and I was interested to join the program here, especially at UNCG.
So, matter of fact, Manjinder, it's a much bigger question, and Sumendra can comment on that too. I think what you see is information systems as a subject where we use a lot of data analytics, business analytics, is considered in India as a computer science or an engineering subject area. So you will not typically see this in business schools, right?
Yes.
But when you go to the US or even Europe for that matter, this subject is considered more of a management topic area. So you will see this whole field of information systems, which is actually taught in a business school, right? So information systems is not part of an engineering school. So where Jyoti is, that school definitely has a master's program. So does many other universities. Most good schools in the country have a master's program in information systems and decision sciences, information systems and decision analytics, IT and decision analytics. They have different names, but they're essentially doing the same thing. And you'll find a lot of them around the country.
That's what I also did. My PhD was in information systems, but more on the business side of information systems, which I find to be more fun, than just the technical thing. How technical things are important, but business management things are more interesting in my opinion, more fun, because you can relate them to what is happening every day. Like she mentioned, what is happening in Axis Bank. I'm an Axis Bank customer, so what they do directly affects me, and it affects a lot of things.
Right, I agree, and that's the fun part of the information systems field, definitely.
Like who would think, positive psychology being used in information systems at the same time while they are using analytics, hardcore programs, algorithms, and something which is very behavioral. So that's the interesting part, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
Other questions? Harpreet, can't hear you.
How much time you spend on study every day?
Sorry, Harpreet, I didn't get your question. Could you please repeat it?
How much time you spend on study every day?
Harpreet, can you type it in the chat box?
We couldn't hear you. Just type it in the chat box. Yes.
I think she's asking how much time should we spend on studies every day?
Is that what she said?
I'll let the professors answer that for you.
Well, there are two perspectives to it. One is the student perspective, and second one is the professor perspective. I think they are asking you from a student perspective. Okay.
Okay, well, I think let me first start talking about that. I think when you're in a master's program or an MBA program, I think you're all like a sponge, right? The more water you put in, you'll keep on absorbing it, and the more you do, the better you will be. And I would say, keep your ears and eyes open. Now, let me tell you a personal story. When I was in an MBA program, I had done work in operations management, but I had no idea of the emerging field of information systems. Well, it was new anyways back then, so we did not know. Till the time in the MBA program, I had one person, and she was 1 year senior to me in the program. And I was looking for, just like many of you, to pursue another master's overseas. And we started talking, and she suggested that, the future is going to be in information technologies, information systems. So even the understanding of what information systems are was not there. So what did I do? I started talking to every single person I could find, trying to understand what the field is. We are not, none of us are born with all the knowledge, right? Knowledge is what we gain by talking to people, by interacting with people, right? And it's the discourse that creates knowledge. What you know is not going to be, you can read any number of books, which is good, but it's the discourse. And what do I mean by discourse? Discourse is talking with each other, right? Greek philosophers, and even in Indian old educational system, teaching did not take place by reading. Teaching took place by talking through a discourse, right? So Aristotle and Plato generated knowledge through a discourse. They were teacher and student, but they generated knowledge through discourse. So what I would say is talk with other people, absorb as much as you can, right? There are multiple perspectives, So if you look at a building, you can, every person you're going to talk to are going to give you one perspective of that building. And that's the perspective from where they are standing and looking at that building. But that doesn't describe the building. You have to look at it from multiple perspectives. So keep talking, keep discussing, and you will see the benefits emerge in the whole process. To answer the question very specifically that Harpreet is asking, I think it depends upon the course that you're taking. I mean, in Carl University, yes, I would say if you have 3 hours worth of classes or 4 hours worth of classes every day, you will probably have to spend another 4 hours studying for those classes as well, right? So that's a good yardstick, right? So, and I think you will see the benefits come out of it.
I don't know if it will help. When I was doing my PhD, we had an office in RPI. So there were days when I would sleep in the office, go to the gym in the morning, do my exercise, shower, change, and come back to office. So this is how you work.
You see, none of us have had things given to us in a plate. We've all had to struggle. I mean, what Sumendra is saying one thing. I did my PhD, even my master's, at the London School of Economics. Right. So when I was doing my PhD, I had 3 jobs. Right. I was helping clean up the computers, initialize them in the morning. So I had to be in the lab at 6 a.m. in the morning before the labs would open. So 6 to 9, I would be initializing the computers. You had to go and do it physically, right? Then I was teaching a class at a college which was outside London. So I would take a train, 40 minutes, go outside London, teach that class, right? And 2 o'clock, when I would finish, I would come back to my school, my university, and do what I had to do in my PhD. right? In the evening, I was teaching at an educational, adult education school where older people would come and they would like to learn about computers. I would teach that and I would get free at 10 o'clock at night, right? And then go home, sleep, and come back at 6 o'clock. So I did that for 2 years, right? So we've all worked very hard to be wherever we are. And I think we should never forget that. We should never forget that. You should cherish those memories and move on, because there is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I can say.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And just to add another point to that, I've always learned that when you aspire to have good things in life, they never come easy. So you should never look at these challenges as something that breaks you down, but you should look at it as a blessing that you get an opportunity to work hard and move forward in life. So I think we're all blessed to have been given these opportunities, and we should just work hard and strive to get the best out of it.
I think you are absolutely right. Nobody ever died of hard work, but many people died because they didn't do. I mean, they didn't leave the bed.
Right.
Yeah. As they say, you will never die because of hunger, but you will die because you eat a lot.
No, actually, there are studies which say that people who are busy, not over too much busy, but who work, who are active, they are healthier, happier, they live longer, etc.
All right. Okay. Any other questions? Good, good.
So Jyoti, I have a question for you. So these students are just starting, they are in business analytics. Maybe some of them will pursue PhD later on. One criticism or one concern about PhD that we hear is that PhD, and once you are in academics, it doesn't pay that well as industry does. Actually, they say PhD is one of the most. I mean, if you look at the number of years spent and what you make as an academic, there is a mismatch. So, how do I motivate these students? Well, PhD is a good option.
That's a great question, Professor Pant. And I think I would, I did not kind of see that kind of, that much of a difference when you come here or when you pursue a PhD here in the US. I think even in academia, you get paid really well. Also, when you're working in academia, you can also like your research is something that you can also contribute to the professional world as well, right? So once you do your PhD, it opens doors for you for the academic field, but also if you want to pursue something in the non-academic field as well, you can do that as well, because you do get a lot of experience in data analytics and programming, and you can, if you are really interested in that, you can learn coding and do that. So in the US, we see PhD students also being recruited in data analytic positions and then taking their career in that direction also. But having said that, I think the academic field here in the US is not just only restricted to teaching, but it's also something that you can be self-driven for that, and you can have other projects that you can work on and collaborate with organizations as well. You can have a consulting thing if you are interested in that as well. So it does open a lot of avenues for you. But that also depends on what you are willing to work on during your program. But if you are interested and you have interest areas in that direction, it opens a lot of different prospects for you, definitely.
Thank you. Yeah. So down the road, we'll have our own PhD program at a Business School. And I'm sure some of our students would pursue a PhD and maybe come back to Akal Business School to teach.
Yeah,
Good, thank you.
definitely. And it's a very fulfilling, profession, because the way you get to contribute to the society, in terms of academic and professional as well, it's one of the most fulfilling professions I think one can come across. And I've always been motivated by all the professors and faculty members that we have, you get to interact, you get to learn from them, and that is something that motivates you to, walk on their guided path, and you are also equally motivated to contribute to the academic field.
Thank you very much. So you're all you spent you have done 2 years. How long have you been in the PhD program now?
Yeah, so that's correct. I've completed 2 years. So starting this fall semester, I'll be starting my third year in my
And
PhD program.
when do you expect to finish?
So I'm expecting to finish I'm expecting to graduate by May 2023.
And right now, recruiting is good, so there are a lot of jobs in your area. So I don't think you'll have any difficulty finding a good yeah.
Hopefully after the pandemic. Last year was pretty bad, so I think
Last year was bad.
the recruiting season starts in August. So she will go on into the market on August of 2022,
Right.
and then we shall see. I think this year we don't see as many job postings come through, largely because of budget cuts and all that, because of the pandemic.
Okay.
There still are a few, but not many. But I think, but they will come. I've graduated 2 students this year,
Okay.
and both of them, without much difficulty, got a job offer, and good job offers.
Because I remember in US, things change. So during the dot-com boom period, there was such a shortage. I was recruiting, and we would sit, and there will be hardly any candidates. And when there was a burst, there were candidates all around. So it's always interesting. Always interesting.
Yeah. It's a little bit cyclical, but I think right now, if good candidates are very hard to come by. Right. Very hard. 2 years ago, last year I was recruiting, and I had 3 positions. One position was in supply chain management, one position in information systems, and one position in cybersecurity.
Okay.
Right. I had maybe 80 applicants for one position for supply chain management. I had about 60 for the IS position. And for the cybersecurity position, I had only 20 applicants.
Okay.
Right. And out of those 20, 50% of them were no good. And then you are left with about 10. And then you start working with that 10. So there are, even within the field, it really depends what you do. Certain areas have huge marketability. Other areas don't have any marketability. I mean, if I go into the market today and I say, I want someone who knows Python, R, right, and is also a cybersecurity person, you will not find that person.
Oh, okay.
You will just not find that person, right? So I strongly believe that the program, the courses that we have at the Akal Business School that they are going to be doing in the first year, right, are going to be so skill-based. So, because these are some of the courses that we teach in a PhD program, right? So what you have in covariance-based methods or AI or Python, they are very, very advanced courses. And once these students will have knowledge and access to those courses, I don't have to do anything. They will flourish themselves. I really don't have to do anything.
Right. And one point that Jyoti mentioned, that academic salaries in US are good. And I agree with that part. What has changed in India also is that academic salaries in quite a few institutes, business schools are pretty good. And the same opportunities that you mentioned, consulting opportunities, this opportunity, that those are there in India. And good thing about India is that the cost of living is low. So when we compare salaries, we say, oh, she's making so many dollars. You don't have to make so many dollars in India. You have to just make one-fourth of those dollars in India to have a comparable income stream. So these are the things which people need to
Yeah.
keep in mind. And all the good things that are available in the US are now available in India also. You have Wi-Fi, you have quite a few things have improved as compared to when I went to
You
when
see,
I went to US.
Sumendra, we'll wrap up in a couple of minutes, but here's a story I will tell.
Yeah.
When I was doing my master's program, right? So at the London School of Economics, there were 60 students in my class, right? Out of those 60 students, 40 of them, that's not true, 20 of them were from Greece, right? Because a lot of Greeks used to come. And another 20 were from Singapore and Malaysia, right? That area combined. And the rest were British or wherever, Indian. Today, the number of Singaporeans and Malaysians going out to get education has diminished. In the last 15 to 20 years, you will not see many Singaporeans and Malaysians going out for higher education because Singapore itself and Malaysia itself has grown and the opportunities have increased, right? There was a time when you were a student, you would have a lot of South Koreans coming to the US to study. Today, they may come, but they go back to South Korea to find a job, right? The same thing is happening with China. There's a lot of Chinese students who come, but they go back to China to get a job because the disparity of pay is very, very little, right? So they're not coming. So you see a problem. There's a student I recruited, a professor I recruited last year. Her name is TJ, and a Chinese student. He refused to come to us, and instead he went to Hong Kong.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
So the world is changing. As they say, the world is becoming flat. I mean, if you are good, you can pretty much be anywhere.
Yeah, and I agree. The kind of courses that have been provided by Cal University, especially for the MBA program, I wish I could have been exposed to that kind of a course when I did my MBA and learning statistics at that level and analytics and Python and all of those skill sets. And I completely agree with you as well, Professor Pant, that the opportunities are increasing way better now in India as well. And especially a course like this and a program like this is wonderful, and that opens a lot of different prospects for you. So I wish I could have been a part of your program early on.
You can join as a faculty someday, at least visiting faculty.
Oh, would love to. That would be a pleasure.
So where are you from? What is your hometown in India?
So I'm from Mohali.
Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful city here.
Right.
So Professor Aman is here. Professor Aman, would you like to say something? He's a faculty in commerce. He's thinking of doing his PhD. I suggested he's interested in finance, so I suggested financial analytics, which will make him a hot commodity.
So many of my doubts are also cleared in today's session. That is really a wonderful session, I see. So all the students are very much happy to understand what they want to do and how they will do after completing their masters from Akal University. And I think as many of the applications came to good research, so all these 11 applications will also be added in 2023 to Gurpreet as well for PhD.
Yeah, I know.
So I think he has to increase his seats in 2023 to 11 seats for these business school students. And
Yes.
apart from this, I also got insight about what to do in PhD, as I'm ready to start for PhD in this year onwards. But I didn't find a good supervisor for me who will guide me at every step. So, as Professor Pant, Professor Dhillon, and yes, you especially, Jyoti ma'am, who is doing this PhD, you will be really helpful for me as well to get into this program and to complete this in a due time as well.
Yeah, sure. Anytime, and wish you all the very best for your
Thank you.
endeavor in the PhD program.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Okay,
Thank you,
folks.
and all the
Yeah.
best to all the students as well. And thank you so much once again, Professor Pant and Dr. Dhillon as well. And it was so wonderful meeting you all.
Thank you.
Okay, so Aman sir, can you stop this live streaming for a minute?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Do you need me? I need to go.
no, you can go, and
Okay.
Jyoti can also leave. We just
Okay.
spend a few minutes
Okay.
brainstorming about what we need to do tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day of our orientation program.
Yeah.
So
So, Pansar, we will end up this session and we will join from this same link.
okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jyoti ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.